Hola chicos, bueno, lo que hoy vamos a ver es un vocabulario especial de la unidad 3 y vamos a ir viendo algunos temas de sustantivos contables e incontables también y adverbios que hablan de cantidad. Well, we are going to see also, apart from that, we are going to see some vocabulary about education too. First of all, I will give you some words to find in the dictionary or in internet about the nationalities of the countries I give you here and the main language spoken in these countries. Sometimes the nationality and the main language will be the same and sometimes will be different, and maybe possibly, for example, in Switzerland the language can be more than one. For example, from Argentina would be Argentinian or Argentine and the main language Spanish. Then we will see some vocabulary about education, about nouns. For example, from study, the verbs, I give you a noun that can be a person, right, or an object or an activity, right? Study, student, the studies on biology, for example. So this is to try to find vocabulary, right? Then here we have a map about something we are going to read later. And this is also about vocabulary to provide verbs, do or make or any kind of verb connected with education. First of all, the difference between do and make is that do has more to do with sports or activities which are intellectual, and make has more to do with doing manual things with your hands, but sometimes there could be an exception. For example, with English, what are the verbs that you can provide? Do English, study English, learn English, and so on. The same with all the vocabulary I give you. Essay is a long composition. It's a composition of 250 words, more or less. Then I will give you a reading that speaks about languages that I will explain you very, very briefly. It's a reading to read in your house. The idea is that they talk about a person that is Eric Fisher. He likes studying tweeters, and he studied the language of the tweeters written in all the world. So he studied the language, for example, in America, in North America, and the tweeters were in English, a bit in Spanish, in Canada the same, a bit of French. But what he was studying is what you can see in the map here. Here the map marks the different colors of the different languages spoken in Europe. And what he found was that in many, many countries, the languages spoken in the tweeters, not in the countries, in the tweeters, were with a lot of colors in some cities. Of course that the colors appear more in the cities where Twitter is used than in the parts of, for example, a rural area. So what he comments is this about America, that I told you, that there are fewer languages spoken in the tweeters, but that in Europe coexist many, many languages, for example in Switzerland, which there are, for example, tweeters in English, French, Spanish, German, Italian, right? In Russia, only in the important cities, right? And then he was finding, like an anecdote, that in the year 2012, he found that the seventh spoken language was Tagalog. And it was very strange because it's a language that comes from the Philippine Islands. And then he found that it was because he uses an electronic method to find the language of the tweeters, that is because of the words lol, haha, right? And they are words from the Tagalog language, but they were actually expressions spoken in English, and that was incorrect, right? And he says that it must be a fan language, Tagalog, because of this. And well, here he comments things that he found anecdotal about what he found in the languages, that there are, for example, in London in 2012, he found out that the people were tweeting in 66 different languages. Here you have a true, false, or when something is not mentioned, to do about the text, to see it, to see if you understand it. And here is what I told you about countable and uncountable nouns, about expressions about quantity. Of course, countable nouns are the ones that you can count in units, and uncountable are those liquids of substances which are always singular because you cannot count them in units, right? Then you can use some when there is a bit of something, right? With countable or uncountable. Some books, some free time. And any is used for no quantity at all, or in questions, in negative and questions. I haven't got any money. Have you got any free time, right? For big quantities, we use many, much, and a lot. A lot of can be used, or a lot in the case of the adverbs. For example, I have got a lot. A lot of can be used with nouns after it, and it can be used with countable, uncountable, and in any kind of question or affirmative or negative sentence. And then we can use much and many for big quantities, but only in negative and questions. For example, much is used with uncountable and many with countable. Only in negative and questions, much and many. And then for small qualities, we can use a few and a little. A few with countable nouns, a little with uncountable nouns. A little time, a few problems. And then I will provide you one exercise to mark the correct answer depending on the theory I gave you. So you have 1 week to do it, 1 week to ask me the questions, and any problem you may tell me, right? So that we start with the unit 3 and its topics. Okay, any question you tell me. Bye.